Hey guys, welcome to another YouTube video and another episode of BRAYTalks, a series which I talk about mainly non-sporting related topics, featuring at times my now disabled face and or featuring, as it was a couple of episodes ago, features on my TV. First off, before I start the episode, my apologies for not, doing any videos as of late. Obviously, I've been, working flat out. Things have been picked up at work, obviously, and I've also been pretty tired of work at work, not at work, but after work, pretty much. So I was just pretty much just wanting to relax, pretty much, instead of just making videos. So apologies for not doing any videos as of late. But of course, nearing the end of the AFL season anyway, so I'll get back eventually. I will get back on the video making grind eventually, with also being the back half of the year anyways. So this is, of course, the return of, obviously, of course, it's that time again where I blab on about soap shows, pretty much. Soap talk. This one is for this specific episode. I am going to be talking about. Going to talk about Neighbours, and I'm going to be talking about a very specific week that is going to be coming up, which we finally had details for over the course of last week, as well. Consider this maybe part one or so, because eventually I'm going to talk about Home and Away eventually, part one for this episode. It was, so just to set this up here, so for Neighbours here, so it was announced on, it started July, on the 4th of July, that Neighbours would be doing another very special week of episodes. We all know they already did that with Flashback Week late last year. That's going to be coming back. This repeated Flashback Week, or whatever, I think it was teased by Jason Herbison. I think it was in June, I believe, or at the end of May to the start of June. That was already teased. That was basically it. And this specific week would be called Death in the Outback Week, where, you guessed it, there will be episodes in the Australian Outback. So I'm not gonna read obviously the articles for when the actual week was announced, because obviously, I'm not gonna read all of it. But the details that came out of it was that starting on Monday the 19th of August. Now that's only in a couple of weeks' time now, as of this point. And it was teased that a bunch of Ramsay Street residents would be heading to the Outback, and one of them wouldn't return. In other words, they die. Hence the name. And the characters that would be featured would be Holly, Toadie, Melanie, Mackenzie, and Hats. Those are going to be the characters that are going to be mostly involved in this Outback Week. We might as well call it Outback Week, because calling it Death in the Outback Week every time it's gonna be a bit of a handful to say. So that's what I'm gonna say. And then obviously, all things about Tess Carmichael, who obviously is a former assistant to Conrad Sinclair, of course is Krista's father. who's now the assistant to Reese, now that she's taken over her father's company after he died following a stroke in November. But Tess returned. Tess returned earlier this month. But she didn't come alone. She came with who came with her was Heath Royce. Which, not surprisingly, let's be honest, attracted the immediate attention of one Holly Hoyland. Why am I surprised? To be honest, why am I surprised? But anyways, and let's just say, watching episodes, let's just say let's just put it this way. They basically I've basically treated it as like they're, you know what I mean by that. Their meetings in the cot, let's put it that way. As my pop would say. It's like basically rounds of boxing. Basically, they've already gone to 4 rounds. And by the time the Outback week will come along, maybe they go through all 12 rounds. Who knows? But anyways, but it says here, Holly is unaware of the dangers lurk around the Outback, both around her and in Heath as well. Then has Mackenzie get involved. Obviously, as I'm recording this yesterday on the Wednesday, yesterday's episode, Heath may or may not have given Mackenzie a bit of a threat, or threatened Mackenzie in a lot of ways. And then Tony and Melanie, they disappear without any sort of word going to. So yeah, and of course, it says that, it says here also, it's the lead up to Ryan Maloney's final episodes as Toady, because he announced also at the start of July that he'd be leaving his role as Toady Rebecca, after almost 30 years, which is unfortunate, really. But he also announced in his farewell thing on social media that he is going to be not going to be leaving the show completely. He's going to be obviously working behind the scenes, and also he announced also that he just did his first episode as a director. So that's very big future ahead of him post being the lovable Toady Rebecca. But anyways, but that was for a space of like a month, pretty much. I think it was a month. Almost a month. We didn't have any information. It was all about base. It was just, and all those 4 weeks, it stirred me crazy. Like, I had all these theories coming out in my head of like, oh, who's gonna die? And then details. I just feel like for weeks now, they're setting this week up. They've been setting this up. Like, in terms of regrets, like, is Mackenzie going to regret not taking the job offer, or is Mackenzie? Is this person going to regret this? This person going to regret that? This and that and this. They've been setting this up. Clearly, I clearly see they've been setting this up, and and the theories I had, my guesses of who dies in the Outback is just gone absolutely crazy. And I finally, after over a month after this was announced, I think I know who dies in the Outback. I think I know who dies in the Outback. And I think I've got my guess, and I'm going to reveal it here, who I believe will die in this particular week. But anyways, So I'm gonna read out this article here. So from back to the Bay. It was released on the 31st of July, which was, I think, last week. I remember rightly, but yeah. So yeah. So I pull my laptop forward here. So yeah. So I'm gonna read this out, or just click off this video. I might actually put a link to the video, link to this article, or link to this article down below to basically give the website more clicks, basically, and also to get to if you Neighbours fans, basically give a bit of an insight into what this particular week is going to be. Or if you're not into not into that I probably should have started with spoiler alert. But anyways, but most of you guys probably would have seen it anyway. So yeah. But anyways, so yeah. So a bit of a warning here for people. Spoilers are ahead from what I'm reading here. So here we go. Neighbours gives first look at death in the Outback week. Neighbours has released teaser spoilers for death in the Outback week, along with 28 brand new photos. And that's not the only thing these things not the only thing they announced, by the way. I'll get to that in the end. At the start of July, Neighbours announced that a huge week of episodes was on the way, set in the Australia's remote, arid, and often dangerous Outback. From Monday, 19th of August, a number of Ramsay Street residents head to the notorious Aussie bush as a part of a week enticingly entitled Death in the Outback, and one of them won't return. Yeah. Producers revealed that the story will involve many of the show's favourites, with a focus on Holly, Toadie, Melanie, Haz, and Mackenzie. Also caught up in the drama is Tess Carmichael, the former assistant of Conrad Sinclair, as I've just already mentioned. I've already mentioned that. Tess is back. Tess is back. Tess is back. Don't tend to Holly. With Holly renowned for her poor choice in men. Why am I surprised by that too? I mean, firstly with Eden, then tried to be then was interested in Felix. Now this whole thing with freaking Heath. The only good guy that, to be honest, that she was with was Haz, and she dumped him. Well, quite deservingly so. Let's be honest, but still, she dumped him. And I'll give you this question here: who's been the winner out of that dumping? I'll give you a clue. He's the guy that got dumped. Let's put it that way. Well, let's just say, put it this way: despite all the things surrounding Haz's past coming out, he's been the better one off out of this whole thing. While Holly's been all over the place, let's put it that way, over the last freaking what has it been, like 7 months? And yeah, so she has no idea how no idea that he's dangerous. Ooh, so that's giving me, so they still threat and the unforgiving head of the Outback. Back in Erinsborough, their friends and family are starting to get worried, and yeah, it has, and Mac go there as well. Meanwhile, an ex-husband and wife, Toadie and Melanie, have disappeared from Erinsborough without a word, causing concern amongst the residents. When Therese realises that her husband is missing, she can't help but fear the worst. Has Toadie disappeared with his ex for romantic reasons, or is he too in danger? Judging by the photos, I presume so. But most likely. Now the new teaser spoilers and photos for the dramatic week give us a first look into what's in store and reveal for the first time that Toadie and Melanie danger begins as they are caught snooping in an unknown office by a burly gentleman. Now I think I know who this gentleman might be. I've got a feeling. What if they found out, and what danger lurks in the aftermath? The new teaser spoilers reveal that Toadie stumbles into danger while Theresa's trust is pushed to the limit by her husband's actions. Meanwhile, danger lurks for Holly as she embarks on her trip away with her new lover, Heath, obviously. While back in Erinsborough, a hunt for missing loved ones begins. While a shocking discovery leads to Ramsay Street feeling the worst. I think I know what that might be. As days go by, it seems that Holly realises the danger she's in. A photo from Wednesday's episode showed Heath ominously lurking behind her. Jesus Christ. As she sends a text from her phone. I've got a feeling that I don't think so. I think that that phone she's got, and if you guys look at the article, you'll know what I mean. The phone that she has, I think it's his, and I think she's about to discover why Heath is here. Let's be honest. But moving on, as she plays a dangerous game of cat and mouse. Can she convince Heath not to harm her? Unlikely, let's put it that way. Then in Thursday's episode, she looks panicked and dishevelled as she runs through the bushland. Can she find help? You never know with that. Knowing the Outback. Photos show Carl, Susan, Leo, Krista, Therese, and Paul enduring an anxious wait for news at number 22. Theresa's living room was also the epicenter for much of the action in Flashback Week. I do remember that. That was basically where all the revelations got unveiled. And I think it's about to be the exact same thing here. Where we first learned exactly why Melanie skipped town after her and Paul's series of bad decisions. Will we get just as many bombshell revelations this time round? Highly unlikely, but I can't wait. But we'll have to find out. Let's put it that way. Meanwhile, we see Mackenzie and Haz enjoy an anxious car journey to the airport as they prepare to board a plane to the Outback in search of their friend. And that friend is Holly. Let's be honest. But look at this photo here of them in the car travel. I think it looks like them traveling to the airport. I feel like there's more. Actually, no. I feel like they're on a plane. They're in a car on a plane, or on the plane. I don't know. I feel like there's tension there. I feel like between the two, because and then this might have something to do with the fact that it's also been revealed as well. But next week, sorry for the spoilers by the way, that Paul enlists Mackenzie. I thought it'll be Paul enlisting Haz, but it'd be Paul listing Mac to basically dig for more information about what Heath and Tess are up to. So yeah, and apparently maybe Haz finds out about it and then basically gets pissed off that Paul basically is enlisting her into this, and maybe pissed off at Mackenzie for basically agreeing to this. So anyways. So yeah. With teasers promising that they're embarking on a high stakes adventure. What will they find when they get there? Who knows? Paul is never far from the action, and the photos show him making a phone call in an as yet unseen but very lavish looking house. I presume I think this is the house that Tess and Heath that Heath rented. I think that's where he is. With another photo showing Tess in the same location. It appears to be, it says, it appears to be where Tess had been staying whilst on business in Erinsborough. But just what is Paul doing there? Maybe searching for evidence in what he thinks. Paul handed an opportunity to play God. On Thursday, the final episode of the dramatic week, will his actions save the day? Who knows? Let's be honest. Also, in the final dramatic episode, a perilous ordeal changes lives forever, and as one person meets a terrifying fate. Well, there you go. So yeah, while the preview photos show snooping, yada, makes in the office, they are not seen in the photos for the rest of the week, with producers remaining tight-lipped on exactly how and why they end up in the Outback. So yeah, but that might change. That might change when eventually eventually when I get to the end of this article. Tony Rebecca is set to leave Ramsay Street in the coming weeks, as Ryan Maloney says goodbye to his iconic character after nearly 30 years in Erinsborough. Could he be the one to die? He recently revealed to Back to the Bay that he'd be happy for his character to be killed as long as he's saving the ones he loves. This is what he said. This is what Ryan Maloney said, by the way, to them. In terms of being killed off, I would be happy. I've always kind of said that if Toadie was going to get killed off, I'd like him to stop a bomb threat in Ramsay Street by jumping on the bomb and saving the lives of everyone, but him just getting blown to pieces. Yeah, that's a bit of a thing there. But on the other side of things, is what Jason Herbison said. He teased here that there's every chance Toadie will pop back in the future. So if it isn't Toadie who dies in the Outback, will it be Holly, Melanie, Heath Mackenzie, Haz, or Tess who don't return? Pictures don't give much away, but this is the big one. This is the big news. Check back on Thursday, the 8th of August, for a much more revealing second batch of photos, as they give us a first look at exactly the danger our Ramsay Street favourites are in. So pretty much. And currently date is right now as I'm recording this is the 7th of August. So they come out tomorrow as I'm speaking. Well, actually, as this video goes out, it'll be today. So there will be, so the part 2 of this episode will be recapping the second batch of photos for Death in the Outback week. That's for sure. That is definitely for sure. With that, so here we go. So here are the teasers. Here we go. Monday the 19th of August. Toadie stumbles into danger. Teresa's trust is pushed to the limit. Mackenzie tries to protect a reckless Holly. So by this stage, she's already gone to the freaking Outback, and Mackenzie's trying to cover a track. Well, not cover her tracks, but basically trying to go, I'm gonna, say, I don't know, say to Carl and Susan, I don't know where she is, but in hindsight, they know where she is. But she knows where she is. Let's put it that way. So here's the The ones with Toadie and Melanie. This is the main one where Toadie and Melanie get seen by several guy, which I think is the same guy. By all to things, the same guy that was with Tess in, I think it was yesterday's episode or Monday's. I think it was yesterday's episode as I'm recording this. I think. So then there's a conversation that held between the two couples in Mac and Haz and Sadie and Byron. Tess and Paul at the penthouse. Don't know why Tess would be there, but anyways, it's interesting. Andrew and Carl, I would presume this would be at the Rodwell house. That's at number. I can't get track of the house numbers. I just can't get track. I think number 22 is where Toadie, Therese, and Nat live. 24 is where Jane, Aaron, Nicolette, and Isla live, and at times Byron as well. I think 26, number 26, the Rodwell is the Rodwell house. Yeah. It looks like it is there, because I don't think it'll be number 28. Let's put it that way, or it might be number 28. I'm trying to think in the background. No, I think it might be number 26, I think, yeah. And I think I know what this conversation would be, and that would be trying to find Holly, let's put it that way. Then you've got Carl and Susan in a conversation with someone. Susan and Therese. Then it's Paul and Krista in a conversation. I presume this has to be something about Tess and Heath. Speaking of Heath, it's him and Holly, I presume, trying to convince her to go with him to the Outback, I presume. Yeah. Here we go. Tuesday, danger lurks for Holly. The hunt for missing loved ones begins. A shocking discovery leads to Ramsay Street fearing the worst. So yeah, there's when I first saw these photos, I thought it was a ute. I thought it was actually a truck. Sorry, one of those truck things, but it's actually a big truck, but it's actually a ute. I thought, yeah. Tess there, I believe she's trying to get a hold of frickin' bloody Heath, I presume. Paul, someone think he's going to the house where Heath and Tess have rented, because it says here that he's on the phone to someone at the house, so I believe that. And I believe he's on the phone to Krista, I believe, because the next photo has Krista on the phone as well, so I think, I think so, yeah. And then Carl and Susan at number 22. I don't know what would that be all be about. They're number 32 of, that looks like Carl, Mackenzie, and Haz, I presume. But it looks like Haz is on. It's got his phone, so I think maybe it's a message. Maybe Holly has messaged like, or it's got a strange message. I don't know. Then it was the photo. I still think there's more to this whole tension thing, because it looks like Haz a bit pissed off here, and Mackenzie is sort of in a mood of like, oh, I'm sorry for doing this, sorry for doing that. Yeah, probably, yeah. Wednesday the 21st of August, Mackenzie and Haz embark on a high-stakes adventure. Holly plays a dangerous game of cat and mouse. Ramsay Street fears for their loved ones. So yeah, so there's the same photo. I still think that the phone that Holly's holding is actually Heath's phone, and this is when she finds out why he and Tess are in Erinsborough in the first place, because this whole embezzlement thing. But anyways, yeah. And then this one here of Heath, he's going like, he's got this like evil look on his face. So I think I know what happens here. I think he does take her, hostage and all that. Then it's Heath on the phone. I presume on the phone to someone. I think maybe Tess or something like that. I think. This one's quite interesting. It's Therese, Paul, Krista, and Leo, which is quite interesting there. Then Carl and Susan again at number 22. This is going to be a handful. Carl, Susan, Leo, Krista, Therese, and Paul at number 22. So yeah. And finally, Thursday, the 22nd of August, a perilous ordeal changes lives forever. Paul is handed an opportunity to play God. One person meets a terrifying fate. So this one is Holly. I presume this is her trying to run away from Heath, I would presume. Or maybe she's trying to run away, and then it's when Heath maybe spots her, and maybe in this photo maybe she goes the other way and runs away from him. I don't know. Who knows about that? And the final one is of Carl, Therese, Paul, and Andrew. And I think they found information. It's got a laptop here, so I think it might be like CCTV and stuff like that, or maybe this is when they find out what the real reason, what Tess and Heath are doing. Let's put it that way. But yeah, so what's it? And as you all know, the episodes air on the Monday, the 19th of August through to the 22nd. So yeah. So I'm kindly gonna run through my theories actually, because as I said, throughout the weeks that there was no information about this death in the Outback week, the theory, my theory mode in here was just going around about who dies. But as I said, I think I know who dies in the Outback. I've got a feeling that I know it's gonna be this. So yeah. This is my theory was. So at first, I said to myself, it's not Toadie, it's not Haz, and it's not Holly that dies in the Outback. Well, for a moment, I thought Toadie might be in the conversation, but I don't think so now. So it leaves it up to Mackenzie and Melanie. And my pick, for me, I think it's Mackenzie. That is the pick. That is my pick to be the one that dies in the Outback. Because, if you think about it here, she gets that job offer that she turned. There's these little things here that if you might think, oh, that's a bit strange. But when you think about it further, you go, that's how you understand. She turns down a big job offer from another law firm, but stays with Toadie because it stays loyal with Toadie. Then she gets caught up in all the Then she gets caught up in all the Holly Heath drama. Then Heath in this episode makes a threat. It gives Mackenzie a threat, or a threat basically. And then this came up I was like, but I wasn't. I said to myself, I think it is Mackenzie, but I wasn't doubling down until I had more information. And then when I read Mackenzie tries to protect the reckless Holly, that's when I went, yep, it's her. It's going to be her. It's going to be her, and Holly is going to regret it in the regret going to the Outback in the worst possible way. Let's put it that way. But yeah, so I think for me, but you never know. It might be Melanie for all we know. For all we know, maybe it could be Toadie, still be Toadie that dies in the Outback because maybe it's this whole thing of maybe trying to deviate from the fact that I want you guys to focus on these other characters that could possibly die in the Outback, but we're not going to do it on Toadie. But eventually get to that final episode on the Thursday, the 22nd of August. Bang, it is Toadie that dies. But anyways, I don't think so. But anyways, so yeah, so this is what I I think the theory is with the photos. One of the photos, it looks like Holly running through the bushland. Obviously, I think it's her trying to run away from Heath, but unfortunately, with the Outback, there's not a lot. There are a lot of places you can hide, but you can't run away from someone for too long. Let's put it that way. But yeah, and then eventually, I believe he does find her, and I don't know. I don't know if he'll be like he'll have a weapon, like a weapon on him. I don't think he'll be a guy that would be have a weapon on him, like a gun or a knife or something like that. But looks can be deceiving. Let's put it that way. But my opinion is a gun, I think. And then I believe and takes Holly hostage, just as has and Mac find her. That's what I think. Or basically somehow he tries to gets to lures them into a trap, which basically leads So yeah. But this is what I believe might happen here. So, so if you guys have done the maths, a week after the Thursday episode after Flashback Week, not Flashback Week, sorry, Outback Week, is the 200th episode of the revived Neighbours. I'm adamant to say that I think that episode, the episode before that, episode 199, will be Toadie announcing that he will be leaving Erinsborough. And then the 200th episode would be him walking around, the episode will be all about Toadie, him walking around Erinsborough and reminiscing about what happened during his past life, maybe goes to the mural where a lot of memories of Sonia, a lot of memories of Sonia, also his past lives as well, and Dee, and obviously Melanie as well, and then episode 201 will be the aftermath. What's the aftermath of it? Of course, obviously Therese will be devastated, obviously, that Toadie's left. But we still don't know about the kids though, about Nell and Hugo. We don't know if they stay at Erinsborough. Do they go with him? Does one of them go with him and the other stays? We'll probably have to find that out eventually at some stage, if they do stay or go. But anyways, so pretty much So pretty much, yeah. So these ones are my adamant theories that I think, yeah, this is gonna happen. This is gonna happen. This is gonna happen. These are the possible theory range where I'm not saying that I'm not fully confident that this will happen, because knowing the Neighbours story writers, might definitely go, but they'll push us into thinking they'll go in one direction, but they go in another. Who knows? But anyways, so this is what I think might happen. So so basically, this is what I think might happen. So this is the possibility. These storylines are going to be a possibility if it's Mackenzie that's the one that dies in the Outback. So yeah. So basically, what my theory is, basically maybe has been the one that basically saves Holly from Heath's clutches, obviously, because he saved her from being trapped in a shed with Eden, saved her from drowning in the share house pool. That'll be the case a third time. And this is what yeah. So I was about to say something, but I'll say it right for the end. So yeah. So basically, this is only if he has a gun. So then basically, he and Heath get in a scuffle, and that's him, obviously, and that's Taz trying to get the gun off him and that sort of stuff. And then at the same time, Mac gets Holly and herself out of harm's way, or so they thought was harm's way. And then out of nowhere, then while they scuffle, the gun suddenly, out of nowhere, the gun that he's holding, boom, gun goes off. And that's when Haz stops, and then basically that gives Heath time to bolt, and it bolts. And then that's when Haz goes after him, but then he stops when Holly screams, like, Mackenzie! And he turns around, and that's when, bang, Mackenzie's just dropped to the ground, and she's shot. And Haz rushes to her side, rushes to her side, obviously, and tries to save her, does CPR and that sort of stuff, but it will be hopeless, to no avail, of course, and of course Mackenzie dies. So, which I think that's how that will happen. So in the aftermath, obviously, Haz beyond devastated, obviously, because he's just lost the love of his life, obviously, and Holly obviously feels, of course, traumatized by what's just happened, traumatized again for being held hostage again, and obviously and then obviously feeling guilty that she feels like she's the reason why Mac's dead, because if she had not gone with Heath and realized Heath's true colours sooner, then probably Mac would still be alive. So yeah, but yeah, and then obviously maybe she. I think either she will ring back to probably Carl and Susan back in Erinsborough and tell them that Mac's dead, or Has, but it does say that somehow Toadie and Melanie end up in the Outback. So at some point, Toadie and Melanie might discover it, and yeah, so who knows, pretty much, but yeah, so yeah, but anyways, and then this is what I think might happen here. Over the weeks after Outback week, Has and Holly get close again. Because obviously in this whole, in that sort of in a situation like that, it's gonna bring people like that closer. So as they help each other after Mac's death, obviously, helps Holly through her guilt, obviously in thinking that she's the reason for Mac's death, and obviously Holly helps him through his grief, obviously. And then it gives close friends and neighbours plenty of reasons to be concerned or be worried about it. So yeah, because I think that's what's going to happen here. I think either those two are going to help each other in terms of recovering from this, or the other way around, in self-destruction. That's what I think, in my personal opinion. But anyways, so yeah, but this is where I think this could go. So basically, as I said, Has and Holly becomes close friends, yada yada, that sort of stuff. So so after Toadie leaves, I think Nell agrees to stay at number 28 with Carl, Susan, and Holly. While for Hugo, I don't know, because but you never know with Nell as well. Maybe both Nell and Hugo stay with Therese, but I don't think that's realistic, to be honest, because I feel like at some stage the story writers are going to try and basically get Paul and Therese back together, which that's not going to be possible. So I think the only reasonable option would be for Hugo to stay one place and the other, and Nell stay at another, or stay at one place. I don't know, but I think Nell will go and stay at number 28. Now this is where I think this would be good here in a lot of ways. Another storyline would be that there will still be tension in the air between Nell and JJ, which I would presume would grow over the next little bit and so on. But they both have, of course, have no clue in how to handle that tension, obviously, because obviously they've never been into something like this before. So yeah, especially with Nell. So this is what I propose. I propose this happening, this like two-way parallel conversation, because which was done quite a lot in the early part of the revival, but it hasn't done that in quite a bit. This is where I believe, or I think will happen. So basically, on one side you'd have Has and JJ at Harold's talking about how to handle this whole romantic tension thing. Now on the flip side, at number 28, you have Nell and Holly talking about this. Talking about this. Yeah, talking about this exact same thing. I think you might see where this is going. So yeah, and then this is where and then afterwards, JJ and Nell work it out, and they work out the tension. There will be this wonderful scene probably at the front of number 30, probably. And I put it in brackets as well, with Holly watching on in the front garden at the front of number 28, while watching this happen. Let's put it that way. And yeah, so basically Nell and JJ work it out. They basically become a thing. And then afterwards, and after this whole thing plays out, there'll be a scene where basically she looks to her left and basically sees Has, walking back probably from Harold's, probably on a break, seeing this, witnessing this happen, and is initially, quite happy, obviously, that his advice for JJ actually worked. But on the flip side of things, he's a bit sad because it just reminds him of Mackenzie, really. And of course, and then of course afterwards, they talk about knowing JJ and Nell it being a thing, and then obviously, and then obviously, this leads to Haz opening up about the possibility of dating someone after losing Mackenzie. And I'll say it again. This is only if Mac dies in the Outback. It's not been it's not been confirmed. I don't think it will be confirmed probably until the actual actual final episode of this particular week of episodes. That will figure out who dies in the Outback. But anyways, and then basically during the conversation of this, maybe Holly comes to the realization that her feelings previously for Haz, during that period of the Christmas period, and that has resurfaced. That of course she's hanging out with someone that is hanging around with someone that is not basically going to freaking keep her hostage, or is not a bad boy pretty much. Or he sort of is pretty much when he was in trouble with the authorities, basically over his hacking shit. But anyways, and then they both head out. Obviously, Holly to work will be heading, with her shift at Lassiter's, also maybe her first shift back after all that ordeal stuff in the Outback, and then Haz back. Obviously, he was on a break, on his break from Harroldton, basically going back, and basically But anyways, but while that happens, they bump into Nell and JJ, and then obviously JJ thanks Haz for his advice about the situation. And obviously, Holly's like, did you now? Yeah. So in a way, so we're basically impressed by it, and impressed and happy about the fact that Haz helped JJ out with this whole thing. And then as they both leave their separate ways. Maybe JJ and Nell look behind them. Look behind them at Haz and Holly, and then they look at each other, and they go like this. They go, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" Yeah, if you know what I mean. And then afterwards, maybe they run into Sadie and Byron. Straight afterwards, they run into Sadie and Byron and they maybe ask for advice about, about setting two people up together. But then sooner rather than later, maybe Sadie and Byron witnesses, Haz and Holly hanging out, and then they put two and two together, and then they found out, and then they realise, I know who JJ and Nell were trying to set up, Haz and Holly. Let's put it that way. So maybe, but I think maybe at first my I can't say the words, proposal would be is they sort of don't get it at the start. Well, they're not totally against it, but they're like, I don't know what, I don't understand it. Then eventually they see it, and they start seeing it, and they agree to team up with JJ and Nell to make this coupling happen. But meanwhile, while that's going on, over time, so basically, maybe you have have Byron have conversations with Haz, and then obviously JJ has conversations with Haz, and then at the same time, Nell previously his conversation with Holly at number 28, and then obviously when obviously Holly meets up with Sadie, she says a lot of stuff, yada yada, and so while that's going on, as time goes on, so Holly hangs out more with Haz. The more that happens, the more her feelings for him get stronger, and then this leads to this happens. So basically, out of the blue, the trauma that Holly experienced, the trauma obviously with what happened in the Outback comes back. It obviously has, and maybe this happened, maybe this flashback and maybe this traumatizing moment basically happens at Harold's, and then basically has obviously, of course, is there obviously, and then basically brings her in at the back of Harold's to basically maybe calm her down and that possibly, like these are the theories that I have in my head, the possible theories I have in my head about it. And basically it says to her all this sort of stuff in there, and then basically, later that night, later that night, obviously they hang out there, at the share house. She thanks him for what he did, And then this is where it happens, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So basically, this is when basically her instincts for feelings for Haz, takes over. And then let's just say one thing leads to another. A lot of ways. Where let's just say this: they spend the night together. Let's put it that way. And then the next morning, things are a bit weird between them, because obviously, they never thought that they would end up back here again after, the messiness of their relationship 8 or 9 months ago, and now they're back in this. Now they're back to this situation. They didn't know that. That's a bit. So things are a bit weird there between them. And then while that's going on, later on maybe Haz gets a call from Amira, his sister, to say that there's been maybe a family emergency down at Margaret River in WA, and she wants him to fly down to WA as soon as possible to basically be there. So I don't know, maybe something to do with one of his parents. I don't know. But yeah, the reason why I proposed that was that at the time, so is that Shiv Balika, who plays as Haz, is currently, it was revealed that in May and June, he would be going to Melbourne and Sydney for a play, as a part of a play, a theatre play, during these 2 months. And then in July to September, he goes to the States, to New York. I don't know if it's the same play or not, or it's a different one, but he goes to New Between July and September. And if you do the maths, by the way, 5 months between episodes being filmed and then going to air, 5 or 6 months, give or take, about 5 months, would be May, June, July, August, September, October. That's why it's the perfect time for this, to be honest as well. So yeah, so that's why it's been the perfect time for that. So I've written down here also, he obviously, wants to head down to WA, obviously, because to see his family. That he thought that they disowned him, but apparently that they want to see and that sort of stuff, yada yada. But at the same time, he doesn't want things between him and Holly after they hooked up and that to be weird, which leads to obviously maybe Holly has a conversation with Sadie possibly or maybe with Carl and Susan afterwards. I don't know. For basically, and they say, "Oh, just talk to him," basically, and then she goes to Harold's, and then that's when they go to the back. They go to the back and they talk and they talk about this. And during that, he tells her that he's going to WA for family reasons. And he'll also say to her, this could possibly be the opportunity for him to basically be attempts to officially move on from Mackenzie, because obviously she would want him to move on. But he also says to her that he doesn't want things between them to be, like this, be weird and that sort of stuff. And then eventually it ends in Holly basically saying, "Oh, well, you just got to go. You have to go. You have to go and be with your family. You've always thought that you don't have family because they've abandoned you. You have to be there for your family. You have to be there." So basically, maybe there's this episode where he basically, everyone in Ramsay Street and basically in Erinsborough says goodbye to him. Well, for now at least, as he travels to WA. Not surprisingly, Holly's one of the last ones to say goodbye to him. And I'm tipping that I've got here in the emotional romantic moment. He promises her that when he eventually does come back, they will sort things between them. So basically, in other words, all this feelings they have for each other out. So yeah, or maybe that conversation Harold's, maybe that's when they put their cards on the table. Who knows? But as I said, those are my theories. My theories here, or possible theories. That is if Mackenzie dies, because as I said earlier, you never know. The Neighbours story writers might do a thing where it pushes us fans in one direction, but eventually they swing in another direction. They basically or think, "Oh, this is going to go one way, but it actually will go the other way." Because maybe instead of Nell and JJ, it might be Nell and Dex, for all that matter. You never know. It might be something else. Maybe during that time, maybe another new guy comes in, but this time Holly hates him, but eventually they get along, and then that's when, So yeah, who knows? Or maybe because it was teased months ago that there's the possibility of Az's parents arriving in Erinsborough. Who knows? I don't know. But for me, if it is true that Mackenzie dies, it's gonna be an absolute shame that she doesn't get to meet his parents. That's just an absolute shame because it'll be an absolute shame to all the fans, obviously, because they lobbied it for so many months late last year that they wanted this to happen. they finally got it, and then they lost it when Haz's past got revealed. Then it was regained back, and now they possibly could lose it again if it's true that if it's her that dies in the Outback. But yeah, so that is so. The reason why, and another couple of things before I end this episode here about what I've just said previously, is I've always said this. I've always said it, especially after Holly dumped Haz. I've always said it. If Haz does something that, basically, in saving Holly or doing something, it only takes one thing, and that is, it only takes one thing that is saving Holly and that sort of stuff, that will get Haz back on her radar. Only that, as I said, one thing. I've always had that feeling, and I think that might happen. And the reason why I'm proposing that sort of storyline, possibly that could possibly happen, is I feel like that they're sort of setting that up, because this is what so let me put it this way. From the start of February, when the whole relationship between Mac and Haz started, there was no mention of this whole love triangle thing between those three, but also the relationship between Haz and Holly. But ever since that whole storyline with Haz's backstory started, I believe it's been mentioned from my memory, about 3 or 4 times. It was mentioned when Haz gave Holly that 20 grand, which she thought it was Haz's money, but that turned out to be her money. And then basically Mac quizzed him about it, and basically went all defensive, and basically, you're saying this because you're jealous because of giving him money because we used to date. Yeah, which I was like, whoa, that was a. I still find, whoa, that was a bit strange. Anyways, then it was mentioned. It was mentioned when Sadie and Byron said they loved each other for the first time. Sadie said, so didn't want to be like what Haz and Holly did, yada yada. So yeah, and then. So I think for me, and if it's true that she still has a bit of feelings for him, and has held back because of not wanting to mess with Mackenzie, then possibly, I don't know. That could be the possibility there. That could be that possibility. Who knows? But as I said, don't just take these possible theories with a very minor pinch of salt, because most likely it will not happen. But you never know. Maybe it might be. Who knows? So that's something. Pretty much that's it for this video, really. Tune back in later. Tune back in later. When I do part 2, when the second batch of photos for Death in the Outback, I'm just say Outback Week, because basically, as I said, saying Death in the Outback Week is a bit of a mouthful to say. Anyways, but when Outback Week second batch of photos for spoiler photos for Outback week. Yeah, it gets revealed, which that will happen tomorrow. Or tomorrow as I'm filming this, but today as this video goes out. So I like this video. Share this to anybody legit anybody who's a Neighbours fan. Anybody who's a Neighbours fan. Comment down below. Are you excited if you are a Neighbours fan? Are you excited by this flashback about this death in the Outback week? Are you excited? And if you are a fan, who is your tip for it to be the one that tragically passes away in the Outback? Do you agree with me in saying it's Mackenzie, or do you agree with my other theory that maybe it might be Toadie but the story writer's being cheeky and basically trying to deflect it, trying to choose other characters that could die, but it's actually going to be someone else. Or it might be Melanie, for that matter. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on that. And also, I also want to hear your theories as well for post this Outback week. For post Outback week. What storylines might happen. Might happen. Just anything, really. And one last thing. Somewhere down there, click on the big red button which is labeled subscribe. It really does help me out quite a bit for this channel. And I promise you I'll upload more often than I have been over the last month or two, let's put it that way. But until next time, guys, I'll see you all later.